Hello, everyone. I hope you're well. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Theresa Pritchett. Theresa is the founder of Soft Landings, which is a full concierge service dedicated to helping seniors downsize and move. And I'll let Theresa take it from here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Theresa, as Renee said. Renee, thank you for inviting me to do this for your group. And I really appreciate the fact that you're allowing me to do this remotely. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Hopefully today we'll have some good information for everyone, generate some questions, and you'll have a good understanding of how we can help. So I have a presentation for everyone. So I'm going to share my screen now. So give us a pause. Okay, so the very first thing I want to talk about is what is soft landings and what is a senior move manager. Our tagline is, you make the key decisions, we guide financial expertise. Prior life, I'm second career, I was a CPA and a certified financial planner. Did that, let's just go with 20 something. And so I was about certifications. I was a CPA, like I said, I got my certification, certified financial planner. And when I started looking at senior move management, what is it? Can I do it? Can I make a business out of it? I also looked to see who is the governing authority here and how can we help people in a responsible manner and be there for them. So when I started software in 2013, so it's been a few years now, for 2 reasons. I helped my grandmother downsize and move when she really had no one else who would listen to her and what she wanted to do. That was move in with one of her 7 daughters every so often when they all get tired of each other. And I was like, wow, that's super interesting. I heard how we can do that, but I'll work with you. And that's when I was a CPA and CFP. And she said, Theresa, I know what you need, your purpose in life is. You need to help people like me downsize and move. And I thought she had lost her mind. So I went, well, okay, let me look into it. And when I was looking into it, training myself, I discovered there weren't a lot of good resources out there for seniors and trusted resources for seniors. And it's so difficult for them to manipulate phone trees. You know, when phone answers first came out, it was a godsend for businesses, terrible people who actually wanted to use the system. So, you know, started researching. I found out there is a National Association of Move Management. That's on one of these stations down there. After I started Soft Landings, they decided to have certification program for senior move managers. So of course we stepped in and did that. It's a module of 7 different items. Learning to speak with seniors, trust is not just about down and moving. And then 3 years ago, they came out with the best of the best, NASM A+ accredited. There are almost 800 senior move management companies, which doesn't sound like a lot. I don't know, are there 800 realtors in the Portland area? You guys tell me.
A lot more than that.
Yeah, so, you know, that's not very many. And so we have 60 of us are A+ accredited. I only wanted to share that because we really have to step through. We're audited. We make sure that we have all of our procedures in place to protect the people that we're working with. My mouse. Getting into downsizing and moving, made easy. Again, what do you mean? We like to think of it, reduce the stress as much as we can. Y'all are working with people every day who are moving. Maybe some of them are upsizing and some of them are downsizing, or maybe they're just going to a new place. But that being said, it's not easy to do, especially if you're older. is very difficult to do. You don't have the physical dexterity you used to have. Things have changed, which we'll talk about in a minute. And there's a lot of emotion that goes into downsizing and moving, especially when your kids haven't been as involved in your life, or especially if your kids have been involved in your life. It can go both ways on it. I learned a little bit about this myself due to my mom. My mom has dementia. She's still around. So is my 97-year-old grandmother, by the way. And but my mom, we had to empty our own house, the house I grew up in, and without a lot of help from mom about where things went and what to do with them and what we were going to do. And I'll say because of my background, we were able to do that fairly well. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't cry just a little. So it is hard for the adult children. We know it's hard for the seniors. So I talked a little bit about things have changed, we've changed, downsizing has changed, and how you sell a house has changed. We are a mobile society now. You know, even just 20 to 30 years ago, people didn't move around very much. You know, if you went to college, you generally got a job near where you went to college, and you started working, and most people went to college kind of where their family was. All of that has changed. We have people all over the country. I live in Oregon, my sister lives in Florida, my brother lives in New Jersey. You know, how do we do that? So a senior move manager can step in and manage those relationships, get all the resources that we need, and make sure that this downsize and move can be as stress-free as possible. I also know that, you know, being a realtor has certainly changed in the last 20 years. Renee, I mean, can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. You know, I would say that the biggest change has been that our clients really now expect us to be full service realtors, with the ability to refer them to other trusted advisors, experts, and contractors who are going to help them throughout the entire process of buying, selling, and moving. So it's good to have a company like Soft Landings in our arsenal of referrals.
Thank you. Yeah, and digitally, right? Things are not so much on paper anymore. And a lot of the people that we work with, they still like the paper, and we have to kind of work them through that about why things are different. Well, not only are things different, but this year has sure been a different year, right? So let's address that. So COVID-19, the coronavirus, raise your hand if you're tired of it already. It's pretty much everybody, right? So, but we again, back to the certification and providing the highest quality service that we can provide to our clients. Our national association came out with a COVID-19 program, and it had 4 different modules in it: keeping yourself safe, keeping your team safe, keeping your community safe, how to work with other vendors. So we all stepped through that program, my team, and now we are COVID-19 certified. We have a certificate in safety excellence, I think is what it says there. So very proud of that. And I'm also, it's important to me that we go through the process to get these certifications so people feel more comfortable bringing us in home. Now, the other thing is that we have done a pretty good job of communicating our safety protocols, communities that we work in, and the homes that we work in. In March, we worked the second half of March, very little. April, we started doing more assisted living and memory care moves to communities who only allowed us in. And then in May, we started to do some independent living. And that's mainly because we shared our statement with them. I'm going to see if I can share my statement with my screen share. Should be right here. So right at the top of our website, softlandingsforseniors.com, I have right across the top, read our COVID-19 safety statement. So you click on that. I'm sharing this with you. You can tell your clients that we have them in mind. The thing we wanted to talk about was what we're doing as a team, and we don't have to read all this right now, and also what we're doing down, calm, stay informed, be prepared, communicate, those type of things. So it was important to me that we continue to do that. As I mentioned, there's a few communities that we're exclusive to, and we're the only ones allowed in.
Theresa, Theresa, which communities have you been working with throughout the COVID situation?
Thank you. Touchmark in the West Hills is a community we've worked with quite a bit. We started working with them since they opened their doors. They decided the beginning of April, no one was going to be allowed in, period, but yet people needed to move in. So we would work with people in their homes, take everything to Touchmark, leave it basically at the front door. They would wipe it all down, bring it in and unpack. Well, that lasted about because they realized they didn't have the time or manpower to do what we do, to get it unpacked, make it look nice, put everything where it belongs, and get everything out. There's a lot of moving supplies, box paper and things like that. So they only wanted us to come in and do that. And we're still the only senior move management and mover that come in and do that at Touchmark. The other is the Springs, all of the Springs. There's also a new one in Sherwood. It just opened this week. And we're there, only people allowed in. And most communities are not even allowing family members in yet. Thank you, Renee. So kind of getting into what would we do for a client? I thought that would be most informational to you. So if someone knows where they're going, say they picked out a floor plan at the Canyons, they know what they want, they've got it, they're ready to go. It's going to take some time, but they're ready to go. We have a floor plan. We take that floor plan and put it on a magnetic space planning board. Looks like the round of that slide. It's huge, and we have over 500 pieces. So we can take the floor plan, put it on our board, measure the furniture that they would like to take, and it fits. That answers a lot of questions. What you take, will it fit or not fit? They might have choices. I want to give choices to people as much as I possibly can. So we can say, boy, I know I'm hearing you that you want these two pieces, but would you prefer this one or that one? Kind of thing. We have very different language than what an adult child might use, but that's the best way to start with a downsize and move if you know where you're going. We've got it down. We can pretty much do it in about 3 hours now for most people. Okay, who has a bucket list? Anyone? Few people. Did anybody there raise their hands? Look around. Okay, so I'm not talking about your life bucket list. I'm talking about the buckets that your things go into. So I'd like to make it simple for people. If we can get it down to 5 things, that's what we can do for people. Where do things go? It either moves with you, or you give it to family and friends, or you try it, or you try it, or it either gets shredded or is the best way of saying that. We have had some complications doing some of this right now because of COVID-19, but I'm going to mostly talk about in a world. So the first one, keep it. I'm going to stick this up here so you can see it. Oops, tape measure. First thing you need is a tape measure. We like to make sure that we know what is on the wish list of furniture, how big it is, how tall it is, how wide it is, and we make a list. Room it's in now, what are the dimensions, what room might you like for it to go into. But we're only keeping it if it's important to you, if it's a treasure of yours, if you really like it. If it's a piece of furniture you hate, and you just want to keep it because somebody gave it to you, don't keep it. So we're really good about why is it that you want to keep this particular thing, or we have them tell us stories. What's the story behind this? And if there's no story, it probably doesn't need to go. So we're pretty good listeners. So that's our first one, keep it. But again, does it fit? Is it important? Is it a treasure? Those kind of items. Family. I don't know if this comes across very well, but most of you might recognize this as digital family. So most days, the larger are, the less cohesive are. In fact, we're working with more and more family members for our seniors. It can be quite complicated working with them, but we can do it. We just try to focus on the mom or dad or aunt, depending on it is, and getting things done for them. Sometimes we're the senior, and sometimes we're the family, but the senior is always our client, no matter who hires us. There's a number of ways to sort things out. My grandmother decided to have a choosing day where I took her to brunch. We had the family come in, 10K. I forgot how many grandchildren and great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren. And they came in and pretty much dotted and took whatever they want. These are dots. You can get these at any Walgreens, Fred Meyer, Target, things like that. You can use them for your box. What's going to be given to family and friends, what's going to be sold, what's going to be donated, or you can do it by family, color by family. There's also another website called Fair Split, which if you have if you have a large family and people, if you're lucky, want a lot of different things, you can go to this website called fairsplit.com, which I have worked with, and we love working with it. And it's basically a way you can take pictures of things, upload them, and people can decide what they want and what they don't want. Like a title, Divide Things, Not Families. So that's another resource that we have. Do you have an account with them? So if you have a family that might want to use this, it would be less expensive just to have us help. So it's also on the slide, fairsplit.com. Selling things often. Go ahead.
Theresa, excuse me. Do you ever work with non-seniors?
Thank you. In fact, FairSplit is a great place to go back to that if I can, because we help disabled people. We help divorced clients. So if anyone needs a little extra helping hand to move or downsize and move or split and move, we are there to help them. Thank you, Renee. And so we do help other people. You don't have to be a certain age limit. I did have someone call me once and say, I'm only 67. Can you still help me? And I'm like, of course, of course we can help. You can be a young 90-something and an older 67 as well. But we do help anyone that's disabled. We've moved a lot of medical equipment and get it set up for the person once there, and it's safe and comfortable for them once we're done. Thanks, Renee. Selling things is almost always the first question we get when we walk in. How do I get rid of everything? How do I sell things? What's it worth? Well, as realtors, the worth is what somebody wants to pay for it. But that's a really hard concept for people to get around on their things that they've had a long time. Humans all do it. It's normal and natural. Accumulate things, but not necessarily get rid of it. And a lot of people have it in their head, well, I paid $5,000 for this. I should be able to get some of that back. Well, if it's a $5,000 leather sectional that's huge, you might get any money back. It's really interesting what things value right now, and it changes. I have a feeling that, I'm going to pause because there we go, that COVID-19 may change the way people keep things and get rid of things as well. So there's eBay, there's Craigslist, there's estate sales, there's Facebook Marketplace, there's lots of ways and things. So what we do with clients is try to push that to the end. We really want to focus on what's moving for them, what is important to them. The rest of it will shake itself out. Now, if there's enough value for an estate sale, we can, I'll talk a little bit about that later, we can help with that. If there's an in-between, too much to donate, not enough for an estate sale, we help with that. We don't encourage any seniors or anything that they might be selling themselves. We can help with that. Donate it. Donating has gotten a lot harder to do because not just because of COVID-19, but because of space. A lot of donation centers won't take certain things anymore. They'll only take certain items. We have a great working relationship with Community Warehouse, and we work with them to come empty out homes sometimes. We also work with the libraries for books, because everybody has a lot of books. But the point here is it's not as easy as to be, but it is a bucket that we like to use. And paper. If you have helped your client try to empty their home, you know there's a lot of paper in that house. So we try to get through the paper. We know what to keep, what needs to be shredded. We have a great shredding resource. I didn't put it on here, but you can contact me and I can get that to you, where they'll come to you, shred things on site, and it's $40 for a recycle bucket, big recycle barrel. They're great. Okay, Ohio. I can't see everyone, so I'll look at my team that's here now. Does anybody know what else Ohio stands for?
No.
Only handle it once. As much as possible, make a decision when you can. Use your, oops, there we go. Use your dots and only handle it once. You know, so we're helping with them. We really try to help make a decision on something when we can, whether it's a vase or a knickknack or photo albums. What do you do with all those photo albums? We have some solutions for that, but I try to encourage people to only handle it once. It saves time. We also emphasize to people to start now. Now, if their house isn't going to be on the market for another year, which I know you all work with people sometimes for a long time before they sell their house, we can help them declutter now. So if they've already talked to you and you can see they have a lot of clutter, a lot of personal things, we can go ahead and start that process, you know, sorting through what's important for them to keep, what's not, getting some of it going ahead and boxed up. And so when they are ready to move or ready to sell their home, it's actually less emotional for them and less stressful because they've already done all the hard work. So if you have anybody that might be moving later, go ahead and bring us in now because we can certainly help. So I hope I've done a good job of telling you what a senior move manager is. I got a little short video here for you to watch, and then we'll get into a few questions at the end.
It's really more than a move. It is a life transition, and we're so honored to be able to touch them and help them throughout this part of their life.
Every client is different. They have their own individual needs, and what we're really trying to do is move them in the most comfortable, safe, and productive fashion.
One of the things that we're trying to achieve is to make your move as stress-free, as smooth as possible.
We actually manage the process everywhere from floor plan design to helping manage the logistics of the movers and the moving process. We help to downsize and declutter, pack it up, move it, set it up, put it all back together, recreate the space that they used to live in so it kind of feels like home.
It was all put together. It was beds were made, things were put away. There was a note every place to show you where everything was.
One of the greatest things about what we do every day is interacting with the family and working together side by side with them to be able to provide the support so that the kids can come in and truly support the parents through this process in a way that's helpful and beneficial, instead of ending up in conflict over deciding what will go and what will not go.
NASM is so important because we ensure quality, we ensure that people have minimum standards, that they have insurance, that they've gone through some education. And if there is a problem, there's also an ethics committee that they can fall back on to call. We can rearrange things in the home or add a few items to the home to allow somebody the ability to safely stay in their home.
The one thing that people misconceive is that move management is expensive, but it's really not.
We do everything a la carte. We can do a full solution move, or we can just do parts of a move. So if families feel like they can do part of the packing or part of the unpacking and hanging pictures, then we can just do, some of the moving and the design. So really, we could fit anybody's budget, really, to try to help to reduce the stress and the pressure of the move.
They owe it to themselves to have a smooth transition and get on with their life.
I couldn't have made this transition without her.
Thank you for indulging me. I'm not there. Look around at your neighbors. Who knew what a senior move manager was before today? I bet there's less than 5 people in the room that have raised their hands. But that video of what I've gone over, here's a list of some of our services. They are not all inclusive, that is for sure. Basically, we do whatever needs to be done to get a person from the home they're in now to the smaller home that they're going to. And that includes emptying the house and make sure it's ready for you to put it on the market. I prefer people to move first, as I'm sure you are too. That's not always the case, but we can certainly help them with their transition. Does anybody want to touch on any of these specifically?
Can you tell us a little bit more about organizing and helping with the estate sale process?
Sure. We don't do the estate sale ourselves right now. We might be doing it at the beginning of next year. But estate sale companies, there's a few good ones around. There are a lot of not so great ones around. But what we do is work with our vendors, and they come in and walk through the home to see, or we send them pictures right now to see if there's enough value in the home to make an estate sale. Most estate sale companies won't take it on unless there's at least $10,000 to $15,000 in value in the home, and you might as well just take furniture out of it. It doesn't matter if it's really nice furniture, just don't even include that. It's going to be artwork, interesting things, different things, and household goods, kitchen items, garage items, things like that. If we can't arrange an estate sale per se, I work with an auction person who will come and bid on the house. And he'll either take everything and no charge, meaning he can sell some of it, but the client's not getting any money back from it. It's just to empty the home. Or he'll charge $250 or he'll charge $500. I negotiated a flat rate with him. So that's how we help with the estate sale.
And what about archiving family photos? I've noticed that a lot of folks just have drawers and boxes full of loose photos. How can you help with that?
Thank you. Sometimes we can help ourselves. We have some digitizing equipment where we use a camera, basically a stationary camera that you slide pictures through, and it takes the pictures, and what they get back is a digitized form. The more organized it is initially, the better organized it's going to be when they get it back, or we'll work with them. Once we know who a person is, we can do that. Some people actually like taking it to Costco, or we take it to Costco for them in a nice manner. We don't just dump it all there. You don't know where back. But they'll do video of all types. The little tiny cassettes, the big ones, the round reels, pretty much everything, and pictures. They send it off, and it's very reasonable cost. For anybody who has a lot, and we've worked with people with travel scrapbooks that they've kept for the last 40 years, and those can be digitized as well. That's by using the picture snapshot of each page. And we can do it in-house. The loose things we tend to send to Costco and let them do it.
Okay. And Theresa, what is your service area?
We work all around the Portland metro area, including some of Washington, occasionally at the coast, down in through the gorge and Bend, wherever the work takes us. Once we're outside the Portland metro area, we do have a reasonable travel charge for that. There aren't a lot of services on the coast or in Bend or in other places once you get outside the metro area. So I really want to help the people that need help in those areas. So we try to make it cost efficient for them to bring us in. Right now, we don't really work in Eastern Oregon or Eastern Washington. Thank you. Anyone else? I'm going to move ahead. Here is my awesome team. Currently, we are a team of women. Everybody has helped a mom or a dad or an aunt or an uncle downsize and move, and so we're all pretty vested in what we do. If you have somebody moving in to a community like the Canyons from out of state, and the person might need some help out of state to do a lot of what we do, you can go to the NASM website, nasm.org. It's up here. And the first screen you'll see is Find a Senior Move Manager. And if you click on that and type in the zip code, you'll see who serves that area. I'm not, in the interest of time, I'm not going to do that right now, but I know if you click on that and you put 97007 in, we'll be first. So you can do that. And that is the end of what I had prepared. I'm open for a few other questions. I know it's a little bit longer, but there might be some important ones.
Well, Theresa, can you explain to us how your fees and costs are structured?
That is an awesome question. Yes, we charge by the hour for most things. Sometimes we can project base and give the flat fee for it, but most of the time it's by the hour. We take a $500 deposit when we're hired, and that guarantees time on our calendar. Basically, if you hire us now, we're going to guarantee we can help you when that move happens. We do have an all-inclusive rate, which means they don't pay for anything else. They don't pay for boxes or paper or any of that. It's just a rate that includes my time or my newest person's time. Again, I wanted to make it simple and easy. I don't give out my rate per se so much, but I'm happy to give you guys ranges. We can do anything from a very small project that's $800. The most we've ever charged for something is $6,000, and that was to the penthouse at the Marabella. It was a pretty big, pretty big job. We also work at the Marabella, so it's very reasonable. Most people find it's a very good value. We do a no charge, no obligation consultation for everyone. Even if you're not sure that they need us, we're happy to come talk to them, and we give an estimate at that point in time. They'll know a good range of how much it'll cost before we leave.
Well, Theresa, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time and learning all that you've shared about soft landings. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.